start talking.
Can
So
I do that?
you can if you want to. Here you go.
No.
You can have it. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon to the Mayor's Update, August 2022. Very excited to have as my guests today Brooke Schuler and Amy Simpson. Brooke is with the Spencer Community Schools, and Amy is a volunteer right now with the Spencer Community Schools and one of the initiatives that they're going to be talking about. Both of these women are spearheading a new initiative for Spencer Schools with a lot of community input, which we are very glad to see. It's called Spencer Reads. And basically, I'm not going to steal their thunder, but September 6th is National Read a Book Day. And so at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Brooke Schuler on my left and Amy Simpson on my farthest left. And they'll talk about this new initiative and how the entire community can get involved and support this activity. Because if there's one thing we know, and I think they would both agree to this, that reading is certainly the cornerstone of education. And if we can get our kids reading at a high level, their whole education is going to be enhanced without question, I think. So I'll turn it over to Brooke and Amy at this point.
Thank you. Yes, so we together are starting an initiative called Spencer Reads, which you'll be hearing a lot about as it kind of travels its way through the community. The intent of Spencer Reads is to kind of rally the community to focus on reading, with one of the school district's goals being that 85% of third grade readers are proficient. We've been there before. We're seeing some lower numbers now, but together we believe that we can get things moving in the right direction with a lot of enthusiasm.
That's right. We're so excited to be here today. When we started brainstorming this initiative, we knew that this is something that we needed community support and everybody involved. And so we got some really good partners involved. We've got the Spencer Public Library, the Spencer Chamber of Commerce, ISU Extension, the school district, obviously. Just to start with the initial brainstorming, and then we've got a lot of partners even added in since then. But the goal being, let's just model reading, let's get people involved, let's make it a part of our community, a regular, normal activity, and allow the kids in our community to see that adults are part of this. And so one of the ways that we're doing that is by kicking off, like the mayor said, National Read a Book Day is Tuesday, September 6th. We keep wanting to say November. We say it wrong every time. Let me double check. Tuesday, September 6th at 10 a.m.
Yes, so what we're going to do to kind of kick off Spencer Reads is we're calling it Together We Read. And September 6th at 10 a.m., you can expect to see everybody in Spencer schools stopping and reading, and we have talked to businesses and organizations to do the same. So we'll have everyone in the community kind of showcasing their reading. You can show what you've done on any social media platform by using the hashtag Spencer Reads so that we can see what our community is reading.
That's right. So we're going to have members of law enforcement and the fire department, members of the business community, people from downtown businesses. We understand that not everybody's got the flexibility to stop what you're doing right at 10 o'clock in the morning, but if you can sometime that morning, just take a break, pick up a newspaper, pick up a book. If you prefer to read digitally, pick up an iPad or a Kindle and read a book that way if you wish. Just take a break, give a little bit of time to that, and then, like Brooke said, share it. And as long as we all share with the hashtag Spencer Reads, that brings the community together, and that way we're all sort of connected in the same effort.
Yep, and then we have several things on the calendar. This is just sort of our kickoff event so that everybody recognizes hashtag Spencer Reads. You can look for reading activities. We're hoping to get baskets of books in restaurants, salons, anywhere that laundromats, places that kids might be waiting, or even for the adults that might be waiting, to model that for our kids.
And we're hoping to have some other neat things throughout the year. Maybe once a month, take a look for a Spencer Reads Initiative activity. We're going to have story time. We're going to have opportunities for kids to go places and have someone read a story to them. We're going to have people coming into the schools and reading stories. There'll be book clubs. There'll be lots of ways people can get involved, and we encourage that. And we want people to know that it doesn't have to be something that we plan and organize. Any kind of reading activity that you have going on, feel free to share that, and with that hashtag Spencer Reads, and that way we're just bringing together all kinds of opportunities for people to get involved.
Yeah.
Now, when you say that you want people to share that, do you want them to share that with you? Do you want them to share that on their own Facebook page, on their Instagram posts? How do you want this word to get out to the general public?
I mean, you certainly can reach out to one of us if you don't have an outlet to do that. Not everybody uses social media, and that's just fine. If you do have your own page or your business page, your personal page, you can share that on your own and share it with that same hashtag. You can reach out to one of us. Brooke works at the schools. You can reach me through the schools as well. If you have something that you want to share. For the September 6th, we're going to have the newspaper coming around town, and they're going to be taking some pictures of people who are participating, and so hopefully we'll have some things in the paper as well. So yeah, any outlet that you have to share, we encourage that.
One of the things I do want to mention in terms of city participation with regard to Spencer Reads is that yesterday at the department head meeting, or Tuesday I guess it was, at the department head meeting, I mentioned the Spencer Reads program and how I'm encouraging all Spencer employees to take a break at 10 o'clock, those that can. Now, if you're in an emergency situation, obviously that's not going to be the case, but I would like them at 10 o'clock to take that 15 minutes and post it on social media, and we'll have it on our website, our Facebook page, and so forth. So we're really excited about this initiative. The other thing, with regard to, now you mentioned the basket of books. I think that's really a neat idea for places where families are, where kids have to wait and things like that. Is there any way that the public can get involved with helping with the basket of books initiative?
Yeah, as you go through some gently used books at your house that you're looking to kind of rehome, you can drop anything like that off at the Spencer Library. They're starting a little collection for us that we can then get to businesses, and we'll package them up and get them in baskets and get them around town.
Right. And if you know of a business that this would be a good idea for, let us know. Certainly reach out. We'd love to include anybody that would like one.
Okay. And I know one of the things that we talked about the other day when the three of us met was that it's okay to use a device in order to read. And a lot of kids use devices for many other things other than reading, but we'd like them to encourage, or you'd like to encourage them to read while on that device.
Yeah, technology is how we live right now, so if we can encourage kids to kind of shift from the gaming and the YouTube that they all like into utilizing especially all the things that the public library has to offer for us electronically. If you have a library card, there is so much available for you and your children, so kind of using what's available to the best that we can.
Yeah, you bet. And I mean, you can even get graphic novels and magazines and things on there, so it doesn't have to necessarily be a giant novel that seems overwhelming and people don't know where to start. If kids and people are reading anything, that's better than nothing, so we certainly want to encourage whatever it is that piques your interest.
Mm-hmm. One other thing, and I don't mean to keep you here all afternoon, but I could talk about reading for a long time, but one of the things that I think you said is that your goal is to have 85% of third graders reading at proficiency. Now, there's no timetable on this, is that correct?
That's correct. We've been there before. We've been at this proficiency level before, and, a lot of things have been stacked against us with some weird worldly events. So we just decided that, teachers have been working really hard at this, but we need the community support. And this is just one way for the community to get involved and kind of rally around reading and make it a focus. We hope that those numbers go high quickly, but we recognize this as a marathon, and we just want to instill this love of learning and reading specifically with our kids, and we all can do that together.
Exactly, and this is really a kickoff thing on September 6th, and we hope to just keep it going. And
Yeah.
like a marathon, you've got to train
Yeah,
diligently
That's
in
right.
order to get to the finish line. Exactly.
That's right. And we'll be looking for ideas. We're at the very beginning phases of this. We just started meeting this summer. This September will be our, like you said, our kickoff event. So if anybody has ideas or thoughts about ways to bring reading into our community or connect with kids or, anything that would be involved with the initiative, certainly reach out. We're going to be looking for new ideas all the time.
and don't forget to showcase what's already happening. I've had a lot of people reach out to me about some things that they're already doing. Just hashtag Spencer Reed. We want to see what you're doing.
Okay. Well, I want to thank both Amy and Brooke for coming in today and sharing with us the Spencer Reads initiative. I think it's an outstanding initiative, and we'll do everything we can at the city level to help you attain your goals.
Perfect. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and so now we're going to continue on with the more mundane city update stuff. This is really an exciting initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, first thing on the update that I'd like to talk about that I did not mention in the July update is the trailer park situation. And in July, the owner and one of the residents of the trailer park on 18th Street filed an injunction to order the city and SMU to turn the power to the trailer park back on. The city was involved in a hearing with Judge Shana Mayer in early August, and the judge ruled in favor of the city and SMU at that time. The primary concern, of course, for the city, it has been the health and safety of the residents. And I don't need to rehash all of the things that caused the power to be turned off at the trailer park, but I do want to let the citizens know again that we were so concerned about the safety and health of the residents of the trailer park. We worked with local agencies to find alternative housing, and I also want to mention that since the judge's ruling in early August, that the city, the owner of the trailer park, the owner's electricians have been in pretty much constant communication. And we've had meetings with this on this issue. And when the necessary corrections are made, power will be restored. So rest assured, the city is doing everything we can to communicate with the owner and the owner's electricians, and we're working together to get that power restored to the residents out there. Secondly, I think it was noted in the press last week that there was an active shooter drill at the high school last week prior to school starting. And several local law enforcement, emergency personnel, the hospital were involved, the school personnel were involved, and so forth. I think it's also important to note there were no students who were actively involved in this. But one of the things that I think is really important when you have a drill such as this is the debriefing that occurs afterwards, where everyone comes together and talks about what went well, what can we do differently, and so forth. And I had the privilege of being in the debriefing session that was held here at City Hall and really coordinated and facilitated by Eric Tigas from Clay County Emergency. And basically, one of the things that came through loud and clear, I think there were basically three things, three big takeaways that law enforcement, the hospital, the school, fire department, other emergency personnel, basically all were in agreement with, and that is that the competency of all of the entities that were involved in the training session. They also said they were impressed by the teamwork that everybody exhibited as well. And they said also, and I think this is the third thing, that with that kind of training comes confidence. So in the world we live in, unfortunately, we have to be prepared for those kinds of situations. We hope never to have to utilize that training. But with training comes confidence, and that's what I think this was all about. The other thing that came out of the debriefing was, what are the next steps? And basically there were two things. One is the need for more training. And I think all the entities involved said that we have to have more training, we have to have more communication, and the more training we have, the more we're going to exhibit that teamwork, we're going to exhibit that competency, and we're going to have more confidence in our ability to handle any kind of emergency situation. So the other thing that came out was that what do we do in the aftermath of a situation? So we're going to, and I say we, all of the entities are going to be involved with what happens after that. And we all know that the hours and days and weeks that come after a situation like that is critical for a community as well. So as I said before, we hope that we will never have to utilize this kind of training, but we have to be prepared so that we have the confidence that we can handle a situation like that. Thirdly, I want to touch on some other issues with regard to city business. The 25th Street and 11th Avenue West sewer project was bid, and it actually came in under the engineer's estimate. We were very happy about that. That doesn't always happen in today's world with labor shortages and supply chain problems and so forth. But it did come in under the engineer's estimate. Valley Construction was given the bid, and they will plan to start, or they hope to start, in October. Now, there is a May 2023 completion date on that project because we don't know with regard to weather and those kinds of issues whether or not they'll be able to get the project totally completed. But we're hopeful with this type of project that they'll be able to work into the winter, and hopefully if the weather doesn't get too bad, they'll be able to get that project completed. Fourth on my agenda is the urban chickens ordinance. And that has taken quite a bit of time over the past few months in terms of planning the ordinance. The ordinance just didn't come about. As I've said at city council meetings, the Planning and Zoning Commission has done an extraordinary amount of work with regard to this. They've looked at other cities' ordinances that have urban chickens. They modified it to meet some of the input that they received on it. And basically, they forwarded an ordinance to the city council. We voted on that on August 1st. Now, an ordinance takes 3 readings in order to go into effect. That first reading, the ordinance with regard to urban chickens, did pass 4-3. Now, many people noted that the ordinance was not on the August 15th agenda. And the reason for that is that at the agenda meeting prior to the meeting, and we have those agenda meetings on the Wednesday prior to a council meeting, we knew that one of the councilmen, Councilman Nelson in this case, was not going to be at the meeting, and he was not going to be able to participate remotely. So what was decided was not to put it on the August 15th agenda. And there's nothing in law that says that you have to have those readings consecutively. There can be some time in between those. So the second reading for this ordinance is scheduled for September 6th. Now, at this point, I should say, we believe that all councilmen will be present. If we know that there is one or more who will not be there, I will suggest that it not be put on the agenda. Or if we find out that night that there's not enough, or there's some councilman absent, I would suggest that we would table that particular ordinance. And the reason for that is very simply that this is an ordinance that's generated a lot of public debate and conversation, and I think that every single councilman needs to weigh in on this particular ordinance. So that's the reason that we're going to make sure that before we have the second reading and the third reading, that all councilmen will be present. Fifth, at the last council meeting, we approved a very large land purchase in the North Y area, 44 acres to be precise. This is prime highway commercial property. And I really want to give credit to Councilman Reed for spearheading this effort. He's been on top of this. He's done a lot of the legwork that went into this. But I think that we really need to look at this as plans for city development and community development in that particular area. There's not much room other than that Highway 71 corridor for more commercial development. The city does plan to put in a street. We plan to put in sewer to spur that development. And we really think that this corridor is going to provide a boom to economic activity, not just on the north side of Spencer, but in Spencer in general. And we really think that this is an exciting economic development activity for the city of Spencer. Now, to piggyback on the North Y, a lot of people have talked to me about Quickstar and what's going on or what isn't going on with regard to Quickstar, and is the city telling them that they can't build up there, or is the city denying them some sort of permits, or what's going on? And nothing of that sort could be further from the truth. The city is working with Quickstar to try and get them to come into Spencer. Now, when the DOT entered into conversations about the intersection at Highway 71 and 18, Quickstar was concerned about that. Now, there's also been some rumors that if the DOT decides to build a roundabout at that intersection, that Quickstar doesn't want to have anything to do with that. And in talking with Quickstar officials and city employees and so forth, basically what Quickstar wants is they want access. They want to have access from the north, and they want to have access from the south. So their conversations with the DOT is basically surrounding that. It's not necessarily what type of intersection is planned in that area. They just want to be assured that they're going to have good access at that location. Now, on a smaller kind of land interest transaction, the city sold a piece of property in the Green Industrial Park area to a young entrepreneur, businessman, Tyler Johnson. He's a local electrician. His business is expanding, and he already owns property in that area, and this was just a lot that was adjacent to his. But we're happy to see Tyler's business expand, and I think that's one of the things that sometimes we lose focus of as a community, that, yeah, we'd like to land that big shark that's going to come in and provide 100 or 200 jobs or something like that. But I think one of the things that the city does well, and working with our partners at the corridor and the Chamber of Commerce and other entities, is that we want to work with local businesses to see them expand and their opportunities as well. And I think Tyler Johnson and his electric business is a prime example of that. Another thing that we need to note is that at the August 15th meeting, the city transferred jurisdiction and easement of 11th Street to 2nd Avenue East over to the hospital. And of course, we have been talking about this for a long time, and that's the hospital's project to build a new emergency department, which would close that particular street from Grand to 2nd Avenue. Now, however, before construction starts, and it's been kind of a moving target as to when construction is going to start there. 11th Street is still open. But when construction does begin, and when we find out when it will begin, rest assured that the hospital, the city, will make sure that the residents know that they're going to have to make alternate plans with regard to travel on 11th Street. So we want to communicate with the residents with regard to that, and so just know that that is probably coming sometime this fall. But when it gets closer to the date, we'll let you know. Another thing that I wanted to mention that really I've never talked about, but it's a function that the city does provide, and that is we partner with our nonprofits quite a bit. And one of the things that I think we have to understand about our nonprofits is that they need to access grant applications, whether it be through state funds or federal funds or a combination of both. And in the last week or so, the city has sponsored or supported, I should say, grant applications for Main Street, for the Heritage Center, and for Arts on Grand. These are all very, very worthy nonprofits, and they are trying to do some renovations. They're trying to enhance their facilities and so forth, and the city is happy to write letters of support for those particular projects. They are indeed very important partners of the city, and they provide a very, very important function for the citizens of Spencer. And to that end, I want to mention the most recent exhibition at the Heritage Center. If you have not had an opportunity to see the exhibit with regard to a woman who taught in the South during the Civil Rights era, Diana Coppin, who was a longtime teacher in Spencer. It's about her aunt, and Diana and her sister were given just a treasure trove of memorabilia from her aunt, who taught in the freedom schools in Mississippi and Alabama in a very turbulent time in our country's history. And that exhibit is just top-notch, and it really gives you a sense of what was happening in the South in the 1960s during the Civil Rights Movement. So if you get a chance, go to the Heritage Center and take advantage of that. It's just a very, very good exhibition. No reminder needed on this next point, and that's the Clay County Fair is coming up and opens September 10th. And our community is transformed once again as we get ready for the Clay County Fair. It's a wonderful event for the entire city. It has a huge economic impact on our community. And I just want to say hats off to all of the volunteers who help make the Clay County Fair work. It doesn't go on without hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. And I also want to mention the fact that the city plays an important role in the Clay County Fair because we have an increased workload for all of our departments. And we take pride in the Clay County Fair, but it does put a little bit more stress on city employees and the workload that we have to get done on a regular basis, and also to help out with the fair. But again, this year's fair is going to be one that I think everybody will remember and will create memories for kids and adults as well. And then lastly, just want to mention the fact that school is open. The kids are back. I'm sure they're excited. I'm sure the teachers are excited. Parents, I'm sure, are excited to have the kids back at school as well. I had the opportunity to go and greet kids along with several other community members at the high school on Tuesday and Sacred Heart on Wednesday, and it was really a neat event to see the kids coming into school. Some of them more excited than others, I will say that, but it was fun. And it was also fun to see the teachers getting back into the stream of things as well. Now, one cautionary note, and that is we've got kids all over in the community, and they're going to and from school. Now, a lot of them are on buses, but once they get off those buses and they're taking off for home, or they're getting on their bikes and they're taking off for home or going to school, they aren't necessarily watching out for traffic. So please be aware of kids on bikes, pedestrians, and so forth. Just a cautionary note for that. So with that, I'm going to conclude the August 2022 Mayor's Update, and I want everyone to take care and do good. Thank you very much.